Whenever I bring up the 2026 Toronto Blue Jays offense, the first thing that gets brought up in the comments section is regression. Everyone wants to talk about regression of players, and they bring up George Springer, which makes sense to an extent. At his age, coming off a career year, some regression is probably understandable. They'll bring up Ernie Clement, which just screams, I only started watching the playoffs, because what Ernie Clement did in the regular season is completely repeatable for what he is as a high contact guy who mashes lefties and does, tries to hold his own against right-hand pitching. Now, we did see some growth against right-hand pitching and approach in the playoffs, but again, what he did in the 2025 regular season is repeatable. People would bring up Alejandro Kirk, which that one's confusing to me because he actually had like a remarkably unlucky season with batted ball in the regular season last year. But the one that really confuses me is that people bring up Addison Barger. So let's go through Addison Barger, why I'm very, very confident in productivity growth this year. So when we talk about Addison Barger, obviously we need to talk about positional versatility because he provides a lot. And I know people think of him as an outfielder and a third baseman, but I think there might be brief moments in this season where you see him at second base spilling Ernie Clement against hard right-handed pitching because he did come up as middle infielder. And I think he can handle that in brief moments. But as an offensive player, what does he do? He uses elite bat speed to generate hard contact all over the field. The fallback is the swing decisions, like the plan and approach stuff wasn't great. Often you saw him get into chess matches with good pitchers during the regular season, and I think that he was outthought, frankly. The plan going to the at-bats was not good enough until the playoffs. And in the playoffs, we saw massive progression. Here are his numbers, playoffs versus regular season. Obviously, we saw progression in everything. And I'm not saying he's going to post a 188 WRC plus, but he was great in the playoffs, and there's a big reason why. For the first time, we saw Addison Barger fix his approach. We saw Addison Barger be more selective and wait for a pitch that he was looking to hit rather than swing freely. And you saw his walk rate go from 7% to nearly 12%. You saw his strikeout rate go from 24 down to 17. Obviously, he had a batted ball luck thing that generated a lot of numbers for him, which is not sustainable. But these things show me something really important. And that important thing is that in the biggest moments, the brightest lights against the biggest arms, the best pitchers, this kid figured out approach on the fly. And I think things like that stick with players. I think Addison Barger figured out how to be a selective hitter and figured out that you can pass the baton. And I think a massive unlock is going to happen for this kid because a light bulb went off and those swing decision issues went away. I would not be shocked at all if Addison Barger came out and massively outperformed expectations. I would not be shocked if Addison Barger hit 30 home runs this year. I am all in on this kid because I have faith that these swing decision changes are legitimate, that the approach changes are legitimate. I think Addison Barger is just about to have a massive year for the Toronto Blue Jays.